Let's bring in Hamda Salhout in occupied East Jerusalem for us now. Hamda, when it comes to any possible ceasefire deal, what's the view on that in Israel?
There's a lot of pressure on Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, both internationally and domestically. On the international front, you have the Americans who are hoping to see the Israelis shift towards a lesser intense type of fighting within the next few weeks, and that position has been reiterated by multiple American officials. Domestically, though, he has increased pressure from the families of the captives and the Bring Them Back Now movement. And this situation has even become more high stakes after 3 captives were killed inside of Gaza by the Israeli military. Now, Egyptian security officials are indicating that the Israelis are willing to offer a weeks-long pause in the fighting in exchange for 40 captives. They want all women, any remaining children, and elderly men as part of that deal. Remember, there are more than 100 captives still being held inside of Gaza. But before those meetings, there were also meetings with the Israelis, the Qataris, and the Americans in Europe twice in 1 week to try and start these negotiations. And while signs are pointing that these talks are positive so far, there's no indication that there is anything concrete at the moment. In the talks in Cairo with Hamas officials, it is worth noting that for the first time, Palestinian Islamic Jihad had representation there. They are the second largest fighting force inside of Gaza, and they're also holding some captives in Gaza, so they are part of these discussions. When it comes to whether or not this is accepted within the Israeli society, there is a cautious optimism because they were able to see how many captives were released several weeks ago during that ceasefire period. And they're saying that the Israeli government should be doing everything in its power in order to bring back the captives, even if that means some sort of prisoner exchange or swap. But there's been no indication from the Israelis that they are willing to do that just yet. Hamas's position has been quite clear that there will be no ceasefire talks or negotiations about it until there is an end to the war.
And Hamda, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has been speaking. What have we been hearing from him then?
On Wednesday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu reiterating his position that the war is not going to end. And in fact, until there is a defeat of Hamas and a complete victory for the Israelis, it's simply not going to happen. He says that anyone who thinks otherwise is disconnected from reality.
The war will continue until we destroy Hamas, until victory. Those who think we will stop is not connected to reality. We are striking Hamas with heavy fire everywhere, including today. We are also striking those who aid Hamas, close or far. Every Hamas terrorist is destined for death. They have only 2 options: surrender or die.
Israeli officials have been reiterating this from the beginning, that there's not going to be an end of this war until all of their military objectives are accomplished. But the reality is they haven't accomplished anything they set out to more than 75 days ago. The head of Israel's southern command in the Israeli army, speaking to troops inside of Gaza, said that they are at an incredibly significant point in the offensive and they have to keep moving, and that they are continuously operating and drawing up plans for places they are in and simultaneously drawing up plans for places they have not yet maneuvered in. Just another indication from the Israelis that their war on Gaza is going to continue. Kerry?
Hamda, thanks very much indeed for that update.